All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our last week of class, um, virtual class that is. And this week we are actually going to have more of an informal type of setting, where obviously this is about as informal as it gets, but I'll get more to it here in a minute. But ultimately, this is our last lecture for the week or for the semester, and this will be the last time you will have a video posted on Canvas. So I hope that everybody has had a great semester. I know that I have, and we will get into our topic here in just a second. All right. So our topic for this week is essentially it's kind of a topic that I think is interesting, and I wanted to raise it up because it is sort of it is relevant to social psychology in the sense that um, we can easily sort of convince ourselves, I don't know how necessarily to say this best, that something, even though it is good, is not necessarily great. And so the example that I raised, and I'm gonna attach a link to it below this video, is related to the metro train station example. And essentially what this is the metro train station example is a world-class violinist. He went to the a metro train station in Washington, D.C., I believe, and he began to play. And this world-class musician began playing essentially the same music that people would pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to see him play, and people are getting it for free. And the level of appreciation this guy got for this taking place was like very, very little, right? Nobody knew who he was. Obviously, we don't know who our famous musicians are, other unless they're recording some amazing video or something like that. Essentially, if it isn't somebody that is maybe easily noticeable from social media, or maybe they're on ESPN or whatever method that they are well known on. Ultimately saying we don't know who the chair violinist is of our local or symphony orchestra. But ultimately, you have a situation where an individual was in a subway station who he was spending time delivering world-class music. Thunderstorm's about to start. World-class music to these individuals for free, and people just sort of went about their daily life. And obviously, people have to get to work. People have to sort of move about their daily life in a different way. And there could obviously be a discussion about sort of people pay the money to get into a symphony orchestra, and then they're able to sit down and relax and watch this world-class musician. But there is sort of this, as I was reading it, it raised this question to me of, are humans able to appreciate greatness when it's out of context, right? So you have this situation where a world-class violin player is taken out of the concert hall, taken out of the symphony orchestra concert hall, and he is put into a metro train station in Washington, D.C., and he is no more interesting to these people than any other, maybe a 15-year-old kid who's playing the saxophone, right? And so there could obviously be some level of discussion about how in today's society we are so busy with all these different, we stare at our phones, we are focused on getting to work because we have to work 80 hours to pay rent. There are going to be all these discussions about sort of today's contexts and today's issues. But oddly enough, there was this thing that came up that made me think: is this a today issue, or is this a human issue, just a human condition, an issue of human condition? And I wanted to raise up this topic of, I'm not going to get deep into any religion here or anything like that, but I did find this Bible verse actually, where if you were to go and read this particular verse, I'm not encouraging any one particular religion. I'm not encouraging you to prescribe to any particular faith. But ultimately, this is an example that was written thousands of years ago, and maybe 1,500 years ago, whenever it was written, of these two men that were walking to Jerusalem, and they were visited by Jesus. And obviously, this was the third day after he was crucified, and he has now risen, and he appears to these individuals, and and they are detailing to him the sorrow, their sadness and their sorrow of Jesus having been crucified, and they are sort of face to face with Jesus, right? And so, again, I'm not that I'm trying to encourage any particular set of beliefs or faith or anything like that. I found it interesting that here is this example from hundreds and hundreds, well over 1,000 years ago, of essentially the metro train station in action, right? We have a situation where a person was, this person is believed to be the Messiah by these individuals, and these individuals had been followers of Jesus for for an unknown number of years, and whenever they are face to face with him, they focus more on how sad they are that he is now dead, even though they are not aware that this is him. And and so then fast forward 1,500 years, obviously the person that plays the violin is not Jesus, and depending on your not political, but your faith beliefs, that those two examples are completely different of these two individuals. But this is an individual who has spent untold decades practicing his craft and perfecting his craft and becoming a world-class violinist, and he goes into a train station and is treated like ultimately like there's nothing really special about him. And so as we wrap up this semester, I just wanted to spend some time to think about, ultimately, are we able to appreciate greatness whenever we are sort of faced with it, even, or are we just more inclined to explain it away, right? So we have come face to face with some certain individual in our daily lives, and does our brain sort of immediately assume that, like, obviously this isn't a fantastic situation, this is my life, and so there's no way that this is happening. There's no way that this person playing the violin in our subway station is really that remarkable or that interesting, so I'm just going to go about my daily life. And so that's what I just want to have a thought over this week, and we are actually not going to have a discussion this week. I want you to spend time focusing on your final paper, and so really ultimately the goal of that video is to just have you watch the video and have you consider our own levels of appreciation of greatness. I could easily have us have a discussion about a time that you might have faced greatness and maybe you didn't appreciate it, or maybe you did. But that's not what we're going to do this week. I'm going to excuse the discussion, and I just want you to focus on your paper and getting that turned in on time. That is due this Sunday. So other than that, I just want to say thank you to everybody in this class. I know that there has been a lot of changes in this class between January and today in May. And obviously you start out the semester with Dr. Julie Allison being your instructor, and because of some significant health issues, I stepped in to help as much as I can. I am obviously not a social psychologist, but I hope that I did some level of a respectable job of teaching this class, and ultimately that comes down to by you letting me know by completing the course evaluations. Let me know how I did, and let me know if you enjoyed the class. I hope everybody enjoyed the class to some degree, and I hope everybody had a great semester. Oh, and then obviously one of the other big hiccups was the coronavirus outbreak. We went from meeting once a week to not meeting at all, and so maybe some of you appreciated that, maybe some of you were concerned about that, but ultimately this has been a semester for the ages, and has been a semester that I think that most of us will probably never forget. And so I want to say thank you for everybody for being flexible and just sort of rolling with the punches along with me. So otherwise, if there are any questions or concerns or complaints, please feel free to let me know. As always, I am more than willing to have a lengthy discussion about any topic with anybody when it comes to grades or topics of the class, or if you are upset that I included a Bible verse in this presentation, hey, email me, let me know. Otherwise, everybody have a great week. Have a great summer. If you were taking classes in the summer, enjoy your summer classes. But ultimately, it is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Everybody go out there and watch some Star Wars today. This is the anniversary of the day I proposed to my wife. But ultimately, yeah, so go out there and have a great May. All right. Hopefully we're all back in the classrooms before long. All right. Bye, y'all.